Okay, so this is a short video on how I like to use Ardour for editing my podcasts. Um, Quick bit of background on Ardour. It's a open source digital audio workstation, but unlike most open source programs, like Firefox, things like Thunderbird, whatever, they release source code. They release the source code, and they release ready to run versions of the programs for free. Ardour is a little bit different. You can get the code for free, but to download a ready to run version for Windows or Linux, or mostly for Linux and Mac OS, you have to pay for it. Or the other option being you can go get the code for free and then just compile it yourself, which is kind of interesting. Neat little business model. On Linux, most Linux distros compile from source for you, right? So you can get the latest version of Ardour and most Linuxes for free without having to, actually even come to ardour.org to download it. I have a subscription. I do the $1 a month subscription to have the latest macOS version. There's no official version of the Windows one yet. He just has like the bleeding edge development version. And I don't know if you can just do the $1 one-time buy to get the Windows download, or if you have to be a subscriber. I'm not 100% sure about that. But you can get a free demo of the Windows one. So if you do like it, then you can decide, okay, and go pay the $1 a month subscription and have it. So yeah, on the main page it says, do you want Windows? There's no official release, blah, blah, blah. Come to the nightly build site. And so this is basically like any time you make any minor code update, it makes a new download. So yeah, you can come here, choose Windows. I recommend the 32-bit one because a lot of the free plugins that you can find online are 32-bit. Let's see here, and then we'll choose. Since I'm a subscriber, I'll choose full version. But if you just want to get the demo, you can hit the demo. And I've actually already downloaded and installed it, but I just want to show you a quick thing here. Windows 10 has this new feature where if it doesn't recognize the program, it'll hit pitch a fit. And this falls into that I don't know what's going on category. Come on, you can download faster than that. What kind of internet am I paying for? All right. So, oh my God, what do I do? So if you click this more info, then you can click run anyways. I've already installed it, so I'm just going to skip all that. So the first time you run Ardour, it'll ask you about things like what folder do you want to save everything in by default and crap like that. Choose wherever. It doesn't matter that much because you can always just change it anyways. So then when you fire up Ardour, you get to this session screen, new session, session name, podcast demo for YouTube. And I'm going to make it under a different folder. I'll choose other, big hard drive. I already made a folder on my external hard drive called Ardour, so save it there. This part is important. This is my third take of the video, because in the previous take, I skipped this part. Under advanced options, you can choose to make a bus and connect things and blah 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 blah. The part that's important is here, create master bus. Set that to one channel because this is a podcast, and doing a stereo podcast just makes it take up way more space for people to download, and it's just not worth it. Just make it one channel. And then you have here, connect to physical inputs. You can have that checked if you want, just so it automatically connects your microphone. If you're not, we're not going to be recording any audio anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Connect to outputs. I do recommend you keep that checked. You don't have to, though. You can uncheck that and then later, connect a bus to the output. So also, quick crash course. is in the world of audio, you have tracks and you have buses, and you typically connect inputs to tracks, and then you connect a track to a bus, and then you connect the bus to the output. So that's what they mean by buses and all that. So yeah, we're going to create our mono master bus, and done. So then, not really done. This next screen is where you can set up what audio devices you want to use. Just leave it on the default port audio. If you have Jack installed, that can pop up, but Jack on Windows, I don't like using it. Kind of sucks. It's great on Windows. I mean, it's great on Linux and Mac OS, but on Windows, blech. For your sound driver, if you're using a sound card, like I have a Focusrite Scarlett, whatever, Sapphire, blah, 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 sound card, that has an ASIO driver for it, which is the lower latency mode. But for this, you can just leave it. If you don't have any ASIO drivers and ASIO devices, and I don't know if this will pop up or not. But you can just leave it on MME and choose whatever output device you want to use. Same with your input. The only thing that really matters, I guess, is the sample rate. Most podcasts, I'm pretty sure, are at 44.1 kilohertz. That's what a CD uses. You can set it, I think by default it's on 48 because a good amount of things default to 48, like DVD audio, I think is 48. Most YouTube videos are 48, but you just keep it on 40. You can set it to 44.1. Buffer size, 1024 samples is fine. The only thing the buffer size affects is how much latency you're going to have, and that's really only a concern when you're recording, say, music, right? And so you're trying to play back, say, a drum track while you record a guitar track. You want your latency to be as small as possible. But since this is just people talking and we're not even recording right now, we're just, editing, like that could be pretty high. That's fine. MIDI system, I think by default this will be connected to Win MME. I just set it to none. I'm not using MIDI. Doesn't really matter. So yeah, we'll hit OK, and there we go. So we're now in Ardour. We're in the default window, which is the editor window. Up here is where you can change between the three main windows, but we'll just keep this on editor. And along the in the top left, you have your controls. So you have play, stop. You can loop stuff. You can jump around to session like start and end, which I'll get into in a little bit. You can turn on a click track. That's really only applicable to recording music. I don't know what these buttons do. I rarely ever look at this. I don't know what punch is. There's some kind of solo button out here, but I see this. I think it just blinks when you have something soloed. Blah blah blah. Over here you have your mouse modes. Definitely don't try to use a trackpad with this. It's gonna suck. Go get a mouse. So I think the mode I use 99.99% of the time is the grab mode. I don't know what smart mode does. Don't do that. Just keep it on the grab mode. The only other mode I ever really use, I think, is draw mode, and that's pretty rare. It's mostly just the grab mode. But one thing that's pretty important is over here, is where you can choose if you want, when you move audio around, do you want it to lock to a grid or do you want it to be magnetic? And by grid, I mean beats, because by default here, it's showing you bars of music and beats per bar and all that stuff, but we're not, this is a podcast where we're just talking, so I recommend you set this to magnetic, and instead of choosing whatever beats or bars or whatever, I just choose region ends. And that'll make it so that when I'm moving audio around, if I get two regions of audio, they'll come up to each other and not leave me with weird, little tiny gaps or anything like that. And you'll see all that in just a second here. So, like I said, we got our bus. We can look and see what it's connected to. If you right click on, I'm sorry. Let me slow down. Over here is where you have your buses and your tracks, and you can do things like you can rename your buses and tracks, right? So we'll call it mono, or we'll rename it back to master. and you just have to double click it to rename it. Oh, hey, it pops up. Double click to edit. This thing is, for some reason, like a lot of audio stuff, like I call this a volume knob. They call it a fader. I don't fully understand what the difference is, but that it's volume / fader, you know. And yeah, so if I hit output here, this is a pretty handy window. Over here on the right, I have tabs where I can choose between different kinds of destinations to connect the output of master to. So by default, it is connected to my left channel of my headphones, which I probably want this on my right channel too. So let me click that. So now my master out is connected to playback 1 and playback 2 of my system, aka my sound card. Yeah, you can also, you could do like this will create, yeah, that's not what I want to do. Yes, we'll get a little bit more into that, but you can connect tracks into buses, buses to tracks, tracks to hardware, like you can do all kinds of crazy connections with this. It's really, really neat. But for now, let's just import the audio that we need to edit. So let's see here. I'm going to come to my hard drive. I made a folder where I put all my sounds already. And I was, fortunately, I noticed that Ardour, I'm pretty sure on Mac OS and Linux it can import whatever I throw at it, but here on Windows it seemed pretty picky and only wanted to accept FLAC and WAV files. So I had one track that was an MP3. I had to go and convert it to WAV first. Minor annoyance, just something to keep in mind is, make sure everybody's just using FLAC. That just makes it so, if everyone just uses FLAC, it's so easy. Because like everything can use FLAC. So, got all my files I want to import. And down here, I can choose how to add them. And I want to add them as new tracks. It's possible to import, like you can import audio into an existing track. But I mean, we're not doing that right now. We're at the beginning. But that is something you could do, like when you want to import, say, a song or something into the show later. You can do it that way. And then mapping 1 track per file. I have no idea what sequence files is. Conversion quality, that only pops up when if like you have audio that's at a different sample rate. But in this case, everyone's all at the same sample rate, which is awesome. Everyone's already at 44.1, so that's perfect. And then let's see here, insert at. You can, instead of like like right now this is set to session start, definitely make sure to set for that for your initial import of audio. You can also choose at playhead, and that means that like wherever you are within the project, you can just import audio right there. So that's handy for adding sound effects and stuff later. And then yeah, copy files set to session. I recommend doing that. It's, that way everything's just in one folder. And yeah. This will take a minute. Because the hard drive I'm importing this to is not the fastest. But that's all right. It's cruising. Cruising along. Make sure this is actually recording. Yep. Oh, where am I want to go? Dang it. There's one bug I found. Let's see if I like move it. Why make it stay in front? There we go. Man, my files always have long names compared to everybody else's. And so yeah, so by default, you'll notice here to the left, they're all getting imported with whatever their file name is. So, I always double click later and change it to whatever it actually is. It's like Jesse and John here, they do a pretty good job of naming it something pretty short, This is David. He goes too short. And then there's me. I go way too long. Yeah, man, I'm recording this during the middle of a heat wave. It's like 100 degrees out. And ugh. It sucks right now. case you're wondering. I'm not going to edit this whole section out of waiting. I'm not. It's too hot. I'm not doing it. Fuck that. So, cool. Those are all imported. This thing doesn't close when it's done importing, you know, because I think they assume that you're going to be going around and finding more. So let's just close that. Okay. So, if you use quick thing about navigation is if you use the mouse wheel to move up and down, you move, you know, up and down. If you hold down Shift and use the mouse wheel, you can move left and right. If you hold down Control, you can zoom in, or that's zoom out, I'm sorry, and zoom in. So see how I'm getting in closer here to all this. Let me zoom back out. Yeah, that's about where I was before. And then if you hold down Alt and mouse wheel, you can like increase the tallness of somebody's thing or make it short. So yeah, and then let's rename some things here real quick. Make this a little bit easier to understand. I'm just double clicking them. Let's see, I know that's me, and then what's this one? Oh, come on. Oh, it says over here, huh? Music. Music. And then Skype. And then sound effects. Cool. That's so much better. All right, so now let's go and get going. Spacebar is play and pause, just like everything ever. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Gain That Tune.
Okay, so off the bat, I obviously want to cut out me counting shit down. I can either, you know, I can like actually do a cut, or, you know, what I usually do is there's this location marker. I just drag it, and now, like, whenever I do an export or whatever, it'll start from there. If I hit this button back here to go to session start, it goes to there, you know, so that's the start of the session.
Welcome to Gain That.
And that was a little close. Let's try there. That's probably better.
Welcome to Gain That Tune.
Cool. And also, I have the Skype track here just so I can, you know, this is the Skype call, so it's everybody but my own vocals. And I just use that for syncing things up. And trying to figure out, like, where, like, basically I mostly just use this at the beginning to figure out when people first come in. So let's mute that for now. So let's see here. Let's get to the end of the intro.
Hell yeah. Back again, everybody. Game that tune.
Okay, so you can look here. Let me solo that Skype one. Like, obviously...
Hell yeah.
Yeah, just see John comes way later than... Because this is out of sync. So, let's go ahead and split some audio up, move some things around. So I can select a track by clicking it, and then move my mouse to where I want to make a split and hit the S key. And now I've made a split, and I can just drag a guy along. Off he goes. You can make splits at the same time across multiple tracks by choosing multiple and hitting S, and see you made a split up there. And once you've made a split, and you can do things like, let's say it turns out that I was a little bit off of where I really wanted to be. I can, whoa. I don't know what that one was. Oh, I can do fade outs. Oh, that's good to know. But when I get that double left right arrow thing, I can, you know, change what I split. And I can undelete, right? So let's say let's say I do something stupid, and let's say I cut off this right here. Oh no. I can actually come into here and, come on, there it is. And whoop, boop, 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 bring it back, which is a very, very, very useful feature. And you'll notice earlier I mentioned I set the, you know, grid mode, snap mode, and magnetic in region ends, and that applied here. Like these are, it'll snap to not necessarily the same region end on the same track. You can, come on, buddy. There we go. You know, these are region ends right here, right? Of these regions. And so when I was doing this, oh, come on. Come on. Fuck. Let me zoom in. There we go. It like snapped to that. See, like I can move a little. I have to move a little bit before it unsnaps. Handy feature. So let's see here. Let's try this again. Now that we've moved.
Hell yeah. Back
Hell
again.
yeah.
Oh, whoops! I still had that. So let's delete just a bunch of crap here, and let's move up the Skype session, and let's make sure I got these about in sync.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Not quite right. Let's I'm gonna turn off the magnetic here for a second, because here I gotta move it just a slight little bit. Come on, buddy. My mouse skills today are just not very good.
Hell yeah.
All right, yeah, sweet. Okay, cool.
Back again, everybody.
So now I gotta figure out where somebody else comes in to chat. Which, let's see, John will talk for a while here, and then see, here's some silence, which means probably around here is where somebody else comes in. So what I'll do here is I'll solo the Skype call and come over here.
Necessarily.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, whoop.
Picking songs
not
from that
necessarily.
year.
Ooh.
It's going to matter going forward. I think choosing a year and picking songs from that year.
Okay, so this little tall point right here looks like where somebody else comes in, and I believe that's Jesse. And by believe, I mean I know. So let's add Jesse into the solo part.
Forward, I think choosing a year
necessarily.
and
Yeah, so you can see that's off away. So let's make a split and move.
Not
picking songs from that
necessarily.
year.
Ooh, I was a little bit off. Let's zoom in a tiny bit. Let's see. I think it was about here.
Picking songs
Not
from that year.
necessarily.
Cool. Like, if I was perfectly in sync, you wouldn't hear it double like that, right? Like, it's technically like a millisecond off or something, or a few milliseconds, but it's close enough. So now we got Jesse in sync, so let me zoom back out a little bit. So now, let's see here. So now, basically what I'm doing is I'm glancing at Jesse and John and Skype and seeing, like, okay, like that, matches, that section matches that. And I'm looking... Now that I know if David needs to come in somewhere. So I need to find a spot where there's stuff going on the Skype call, but John and Jesse aren't talking, which looks like it's around here. So let's solo the Skype call.
I'm so pumped and
Yeah.
I can't. I am so pumped.
Okay, so somewhere around there's David talking, and I think that matches up with about this.
So like 2000 now.
No, whoops. Let's solo David.
I can't. I am so pipe.
Cool. So let's move that. Because I think back here that's like David laughing. Yeah, and I want that on the thing. So let's see. I'm gonna bet that this little bit right here, these little two like bumps, probably match up with these two bumps here. So let's move that. For some reason, I always move my head as I move these. Like, you know how when people play video game and they move their body with the controller like that. It's probably about right. So let's solo those two.
Yeah.
I can't. I am so pipe.
Close enough. Sweet. All right. So that ought to be enough to get everybody in sync now.
I'm so pumped and hyped and excited for like.
Yeah,
We're
it's
in.
on.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I am so pipe. I am so pumped and hyped and excited for like 2 weeks from now when we get to do like games from 1932.
Oh yeah, man.
It's gonna
I'm
be
telling
awesome.
It's going to be so badass.
Gonna be
David's
playing
guessed stickball. He's correct.
music that plays while you are pushing a hoop with a stick.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This
The answer
fox
was
hunting.
the answer was Jax.
Jax.
So anyway, all that is a way of getting around the fact that our theme tonight is songs from games that were released in 1991.
Cool. So yeah, that's really about it for that initial, getting everybody in sync business. Let me zoom out a bit. The other thing is, we do. Okay, here is an example. So we do this whole thing over Skype. So a lot of times there's a good amount of delay, or not necessarily Skype's fault. Like sometimes I'm just so slow to hit the stupid button to start the start crap. Let's see here. Let's see how this sounds.
Chosen some great tunes. So, I think we got to get it started, Johnny. What do we got?
Oh my god.
Game 1.
Okay, so there's a gap we want to delete. So let's come in here. Let's just choose all these, right? Hit S. Choose all these. Hit S. And then let's choose all these. Delete. And then let's say I turned off the magnetic, so let's turn that back on for now. Let's choose all these. And boop. And now let's see how that sounds.
Okay, I think we got to get it started, Johnny. What do we got?
Game 1.
Cool. So that's a little better. And yeah, I mean, and you can spend all day coming in here and trying to adjust gaps, and you can move individual like laughs and yas and blah 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 around. But I think that about covers, like 95% of the editing process.
It's a good start. I like that. A little funky, a little spooky. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, let's just assume that everything's great and working the way we want it to. Let's go to the end. Down here is where you can change your zoom, and you can there we go. You can drag around like this to quickly get, to major sections. So somewhere around here is probably the end of the show. I'm not going to do the whole thing. Yeah, so let's see here. Okay, I'm calling it quits there. So, let's say I'll say I want to end right there, right? So I can come here, similar to how I moved that start location marker. I can grab this end location marker, drag them back, and now that's the session end. Like if I hit that, this is what will be exported. I can play past it, but when it comes time to export, it's not going to go past this end marker. And so yeah, you know what? Let me actually demonstrate like importing audio at a specific point, right? Because that's probably what we want to do for the bonus song here, since I didn't play the whole bonus song on the show. So yeah, so let's S and delete the rest of that. Move the marker here, and then let me go download that. I should download this beforehand. GTT episode 25 bonus download. We're gonna have to convert that, so let's I can use foobar to convert that real quick. Okay. Let's see here. Convert, quick convert, wave. Sure. Obviously use whatever you want it to convert. Doesn't really matter. Just, this is the quickest thing I had. All right. So let's see here. Session. Import. Oh, I'm going to be importing a stereo file. So let's see what happens when I import a stereo file into a mono session. I had not tried that out before. I usually convert them beforehand. Ooh, interesting. So yeah, I can do one track per file or one track per channel. I really just want one track per file. And let's see, add files as new tracks, and I want to add it at the playhead. Import. And there it is. God, I love that song. And so now, I'd probably want to come down here and move my new ed marker. And then I could also start recording audio of me saying like, oh, this game is copyright so-and-so, this game's copyright so-and-so, and blah, 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 But let's see. Let me move back over here. I guess the last thing too is like, so this is a stereo track, but my project is in mono. If I come here to mixer, I think I can choose how I want to map this into mono by doing that. Is that right? Let me what I'll do is I ought to play it and see how it affects the sound. So let's solo it. Okay, I guess I don't have to do any of that, because it looks like it just takes the left channel and right channel and shoves them into the master input. That will increase the volume, I think, so it's probably a good idea to use this little fader here, turn that down. Oh, no, okay, because you'll notice here, as it's playing, these two channel volume things are in the green, but this whole guy up here is actually getting more into the red, because when you combine two tracks, just like, you're adding them together. This isn't like a proper mix that we're doing. Yeah, see how that's higher? And you generally don't want to be in the red. So yeah, let's see here. So now that we're ready to export, we make sure that we have nothing on solo, and you can just click this big button up here and that'll clear off any solos. And then we have Skype on mute, which we want, because that's just uses our like figuring out, make sure everybody's in sync. So then session, save, session, export to audio files. And then the default is a CD, Redbook, blah, 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 blah. I usually like to, I'll come in here and hit edit. And I'll uncheck this normalize, because I just want to export it just as is. I don't want to do anything to it. And then I have my screen resolution set really low, so this is cut off a little bit, but I'll hit save down here. So now it's just wave 16-bit instead of normalize. That'll make the export go a little faster. And then I'll uncheck analyze, because I don't need to analyze anything. So then, always check what channels you have selected. We have one channel, and we're on the master bus. That's exactly what we want. We don't want anything else, because all this is mixed into the master bus. And then our time span, you'll notice here it says it starts at 3 seconds in, because we cut off that countdown. Yeah. So let's hit export, and that's going to do its thing. And so I don't know if I can export straight to MP3 from this. You know what? I didn't even think about looking at that. Typically, I just use some other program to convert later. And then something else I'll do on some other video sometime, I guess, is notice how this thing's in the red all the time. That's not good. And the fix for that is applying what's called dynamics range compression, where you make people's loud parts a little bit softer and soft parts a little bit loud, where their volume doesn't fluctuate as much. And that's, having it be compressed really helps with things like when somebody's listening on crappy headphones or driving in the car. Because if you're driving, say, in the car, there's a lot of road noise around you, so you're going to turn up the volume to counter the road noise. And you really want people to be talking at about the same volume throughout the show. Otherwise, what'll happen is, people will be talking quiet, and, somebody will crank up the volume knob, and then somebody will get real loud and, blow the guy's eardrums out, so you want to keep it about the same volume. But I think that's for another day. One thing I've noticed happens sometimes with Ardour, is doing it now, It's almost like my control key gets locked or something. I get it. I literally just figured out something that I've never understood. If I have my mouse up in this area, that does a zoom. If I have my mouse down here, it moves up and down. That's why I was struggling. Oh my god. I literally never knew that. Okay. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't actually like study any of this stuff and you just kind of wing it. Yeah, let me now I'm thinking about what else can I export as? What if I do a new? Yeah, it does not list MP3 as a format in here. Yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, oh, I forgot to mention, it shows you here in your export thing, what folder, and you can just hit open folder here real quick, and I'll take you right to it, which is really handy. So yeah, I downloaded a program called WinLame. That's a program for converting files to MP3. So, just drag and drop. Next. Choose what I want to do. Where I want to output. I'll also output it in the same folder. And then, sure. So yeah, you can choose all kinds of settings in here. Typically, I think portable is probably the one that you want to use most often. That's probably fine for a podcast. But you can also come into custom settings and sweet, yeah, mono, high, bitrate. Well, so yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking here for a second. These are probably pretty good settings for encoding for a podcast. So, okay, so encoding quality, that's how much time is your computer going to spend working on this. Set it to high because you want to try to, do that. We're encoding to mono. Lame has what they call a quality number, which I think goes 0 to 9. Yeah, 0 to 9. With lower numbers are higher quality but bigger files, and higher numbers it's so confusing. Higher numbers are lower quality, right? Which I know sounds crazy, but that's how it works. So like 2 is a higher quality, 2 is a better, let me not use the term quality. 2 is a better sound than 4. 4 does not sound as good as 2. But anyways, so 2 is generally considered like you can't tell that anything actually was encoded. So you can probably bump this up to like a 4, and it's probably going to be pretty all right. So high quality mono, or encoding quality high, mono encoding quality set to 4. You can shoot for a specific bitrate instead, but that's kind of dumb. Then variable bitrate mode, standard. We don't need to screw around with any of those settings. At next. And then you hit play to encode. And it's doing its thing. And it will take a while because this is like a 2-hour long, thing. But it should produce a pretty decent, small file with a, basically, since a lot of people listen to podcasts on devices that don't have that much storage, like phones, or I don't know, maybe they're still using iPods. I kind of doubt it. But things with limited storage, it's generally a good idea to try to get your file size a little on the small side if you can. And I think the easiest thing is setting it to mono. In theory, makes it about half the size, right? Because there's only one channel, and that's not really true, but it helps. And then yes, instead of saying it for most people default to 192 or higher for like music, but we're not music. We can, we don't need that many bits to encode people talking. Our voices don't have that much range. Oh my god, it's taking forever. Holy shit. That was why I set the encode. But you know, that's the thing. Is like this takes a bit, but you're gonna get a pretty good sounding MP3 file out of it. So while that's going, let's close all that down. Close all this down. Cancel. X. Yes, I do want to quit. So yeah, that's about it. I'm not gonna have a whole extra minute here of just watching a scroll bar go. I'm sure it came out with some pretty good settings. If those things wind up being stupid, I'll update the YouTube video with whatever. Awesome. Thanks for watching. I hope this is useful.